Welcome to another episode of the Financial Armor Show. My name is Jose Rodriguez, investment advisor here at Cooper Financial, and your host for today, alongside my co-host Tony Shore. How you doing?
Doing great. Hey, it's great to be doing a show with you, Jose. We haven't done
Yeah,
one in a few weeks together, so that's fun.
yeah,
Usually it's you and Jacqueline or Brad and I, so I'm glad we get to do a show together again.
yeah. I still need to do a survey on everybody that listens in and see what kind of duo do they like the most. I
Yeah,
haven't heard
which
anything
duo?
back
Yeah.
yet.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure Jacqueline will win out.
Yep.
At least for the video viewers. She's so much fun and has so much personality.
Yep.
Yeah, she is great. And the youth comes through, she's younger than I am by quite a bit.
Yep.
She's the same age as my middle daughter. So
Yep.
but she is great. I knew she'd be great. The minute we hired her, I was in the interview, and the first week she started, they hired her to just do onboarding
Hmm.
and that type of stuff here for the
Hmm.
radio department. And I said, you need to co-host shows. I had
Yep.
worked with her 1 week, and I said, she goes, really? And I go, oh yes, you're gonna co-host shows. Yeah.
Yeah, and now we're here, and it's amazing,
Yeah.
and we love it. I'm sure the
Yeah.
viewers love it,
Yeah.
and then
Jacqueline is fantastic, and it
she
gives
made
me
it
a
out
break.
here.
Yeah, she visited you and did a women's event that you had.
Yeah, yeah, which is amazing,
That's very
and
cool.
she on vacation today, I think, on days
Yeah,
off.
she's out all week. Yeah,
Yeah,
she's out
good for
all
her.
week. Yeah, she's taking
Much
some
deserved,
much needed time away. So
much
she's been
deserved as well.
oh yeah, very deserved. She has to put up with me all the time, which isn't easy. Yeah.
Well, Tony, for today, I wanted to be a little bit different as far as our topic. I mean, we're always talking about retirement, tax planning, estate planning,
Mhm.
uh, the markets, and all those things, which are very important, obviously, all the time. But something that we usually don't talk about, which I think is also very important, is education, investing for education, which, every now and then someone calls in and asks me those questions. Okay, I want to invest for my son, for my daughter, for my granddaughter, and anybody, for my niece. How should I do this? And it's not a one size fits all. There's multiple different ways to invest for education, and they have different kinds of tax benefits to them.
Yeah.
The government does want to incentivize people saving for education,
Right.
but with those benefits come some restrictions. So you
Yeah.
kind of there's always a trade off, right? And that's why I tell all of our clients, there's always trade offs.
With every investment, there's pros and cons, and some
Yep.
of them are better in this area, but this one's not as good in this area, but this one's better in another
Yep.
area, right?
But and so how do you find the right one for you is you kind
Right.
of assess your own situation of how much you want to put in, how much you want to uh, uh, invest in, how long, for who, um, and that's essentially that kind of situational awareness as far as what you want out of it. Kind of determines what you want, what investment and educational investment account you do. But today I'm going to really talk about three main ways that you can invest for education.
Okay.
For your kids, like I said, anybody that you can think of. And I'm going to give you the pros and cons here of the three. The first one is, I'm sure everyone has heard about this one. It's the 529 plans. Um, and the great thing about this one is you can put money into this, it grows tax deferred, and if you withdraw money for education expenses, it comes out tax free. Um, Now, that's the simplest way to explain it. It's really that simple. Um, and it depends on what plan you have. Because, and again, these are what we call municipal securities,
Hmm.
quote unquote, which are essentially accounts that are set up by the states. So they are 51 different states, 51 different 529 plans that exist, and you can pick which one. Oh, I like the Virginia one better than the Wisconsin one, or whatever,
Sure.
whatever state you'd like. each state has their own benefits and investments that they offer. Um, so that is kind of I guess the pros and the cons are kind of in those details. The pros is that different states allow you to deduct some of the contributions. It's really not a whole lot in the grand scheme of things. It's about maybe a 1 or 2,000 that I've seen on as far as the plans. Um, and as far as the investments, they kind of work in the same way as a 401k. So the investment options are not as vast, and as the options are not as vast as the what you probably see on your regular brokerage account. Um, People usually do the target date. Essentially, you go in and you pick a date when you expect the beneficiary of this 529 to go into college.
Hmm.
So it's very similar as far as to a 401k. Now, some of the cons that I've seen people actually care about, as far as that they don't like, is what you put into this 529 is considered a gift, and so you're limited to how much you put in. I mean, if the $18,000 a year for the gift exemption, or the estate tax exemption, which is 15 million now that you're going to give 15 million to
Sure. But
to
there are limits,
right? There are limits,
contribution limits.
Yep. And also another thing that parents have brought up is, well, I'm worried about FAFSA. And for
Yep.
those people that don't know what FAFSA is the
Oof.
I forget what the actual acronyms. Do you know what the acronyms are?
It's something about federal.
Obviously, the FAFSA are federal.
Yeah.
Financial
Federal,
aid for
yeah,
students.
financial aid, federal aid for student something, or student aid,
Yeah.
federal.
It's
Yeah. So federal and financial aid for student aid, something like that. It's a FAFSA,
Yep.
which is hard to say pronounce the acronym, because it's FAFSA.
Yep.
It can be a nightmare to
Yeah.
figure out the forms, and you have to jump through hoops. I had to do it every year for 4 years for all 3 of my
Yep.
kids. Help them with the FAFSA forms. And you do have to watch out. If you have too much taxable income, or income that you list there, they're not going to get as good of a
Mhm.
loan or money, and
Or
it can
assets.
affect, or assets. Yeah. So, but does a 529 count as FAFSA, or does it not?
Yeah,
Like, does
so
it look at
FAFSA
it?
does count 529 accounts,
Yeah,
and
that's
that's
what I
kinda
thought.
why
Yeah.
people don't necessarily, well, not that they don't like it, it's just one thing that they're like, I don't want to include this asset in the FAFSA, but FAFSA asks you to do it.
Oh,
So
for
so
sure.
if
Yeah.
somebody has a lot of money in 529s, they're gonna know, and they're not gonna give any financial aid,
Yeah.
um, to the beneficiary, and, but there are ways, I'm gonna foreshadow here,
Yeah.
to essentially deal with that.
Right. Right. And that's
Um,
one thing we had started 529s for our 3
mhm,
kids. And by the time we got to the 3rd kid, we had learned some lessons and didn't
yep,
have as much in a 529 for them.
yep,
But, the 529 worked out great for my middle daughter.
mhm,
It actually ended up working out just fine.
mhm,
And she was the one that was best about, if she got a gift from grandma of $2,000, she put it in her 529, and we told
mhm.
her she had to put half of everything she earned as a teenager into her 529.
Oh, wow.
We made her put
Yeah.
50% of every job, every penny she got for a birthday from
Mhm,
grandma, she had to put
mhm.
at least 50%. And she had the most, because my son didn't end up doing that, and we kind of learned our lesson with him and made her do it. So,
Yep,
yeah.
yep. And, did all 3 of your kids go to college?
All 3 went to college.
Okay.
2 all 3 had 529s, but the amount was medium for my son, a lot for my daughter, middle daughter, and not so much for my younger daughter,
Mhm.
because, um, we learned that through the FAFSA and through other means, we could contribute without having it count. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly, and,
You're probably
So
gonna tell us about some of that.
yeah, well, another way to invest for your kids or grandkids for education that avoids FAFSA as far as counting this asset for FAFSA. But one of the live you learn things that I've seen also, because I've seen the beginning and I've seen the end. Where it's they're in their late 20s. They either chose not to go to college, or they did go to college, but they went to a state school and they didn't use it all up.
Right.
And now what do we do? There's there we have money left in this 529, and that's maybe it's a sizable amount or maybe it's not. But now you have money stuck here and you don't know who to give it to. You can technically transfer that to a close related person, and be okay. So, but they have to use it for education. But
Right.
sometimes people don't have that option. They don't have somebody to give it to. So what do you do now with this 529 money you have stuck
Good
there?
question. What do you do with it?
In 2023, I believe the Secure Act 2.0, they passed this law where now you can move money from the 529 to a Roth for the beneficiary. Which now, okay, that makes it a little bit better, because now you're not stuck with this 529, and you can move it to the beneficiary's Roth. Now, the problem, or not necessarily a problem, is just again, trade-offs, pros and cons.
Sure.
The pro is that you can move into a Roth, so now you're not just stuck with education expenses. With a Roth, now you are essentially you're limited to income limits and contribution limits.
Sure.
So
There are
you can't.
strict rules with a Roth. That's the
Yeah.
downside, is you have to abide by the rules of a Roth IRA, right?
Right. So
And
you
there
can't.
you can only contribute so much.
Right, and hopefully, the best case scenario is that the beneficiary of this 529, they are hopefully, I don't know, it depends on how old they are. Maybe they make just very little amount of money right out of college, and they can just put the $7,000 or $7,500 in the Roth, no problem. But what if, right out of college, they get a really good job, and they're a single filer and they make above $150,000? They're
It
they
bumps
can't
them
do it
into that
anymore.
higher tax bracket, right?
They're in that higher
And the
tax bracket.
limits, they're making too much money to
They're
contribute to a
making too
Roth.
much money to do into a Roth. So now
Yeah,
you go back
so
to square one of
yeah.
being stuck
Oh,
with the
okay, yeah.
529. So that's
So
the
the $150, yeah, the 150,000 is then you can't contribute to a Roth once you earn that much money
as a single filer, yeah.
as a single filer, yeah.
It's a little bit more. I think it's 260 for
Oh,
a
wow, okay, yeah,
joint
yep,
filer.
yep.
So those are the kind of pros and cons, and there's so many rules
Mm,
surrounding that.
yeah,
And that's why some parents might not like that 529, especially
right.
nowadays with the new, I guess, new way of this generation, is like, maybe I don't want to go to college, or maybe I do other things. That maybe I'm an influencer. I do TikTok for a living or something like that. You know what I mean? Things you never know. I mean, I want to ask you, Tony, how did you know that they were going to go to college?
How did I know that they were going to? Well, with the
Yeah.
first two, they were pretty determined,
Okay.
but you're never 100% sure. I mean, you can say you're going to college. They can say, yeah, I want to go to college. But you can't force them to do
Yep.
something when they're 18. Not you shouldn't, but you'd like to sometimes. And with our youngest, we didn't know for sure if she'd go to
Yeah.
college or make it. She wanted to do other things. So um, that's why we didn't put as much into a 529 for her, to
Yeah.
be honest, because we thought maybe she'll go to trade school, maybe nursing school. We'll see where it's going to be spent or how much could be spent.
Yeah.
So yeah, we really went away from the 529 because of that. But you never know. I mean, nobody has a crystal ball, right?
Yeah, exactly. And that's it, at least from with younger parents nowadays, people in the 30s and 40s that are having kids now, they're asking themselves, the way I'm seeing the world now, I don't know if that's going to really happen. I mean, I feel like the probabilities are coming down because
I
just
think
because of the
they are.
sentiment.
Everything
Uh,
I've seen, I would think they are coming
yeah.
down, right? Just from people I know and what I'm
Hmm.
seeing.
Yeah.
So what are I mean, so 529 is an option. What's
Mhm.
another option though to save?
The another option that is not as popular, but it does exist, and people should be aware, is something called a Coverdell account, which is they call it. There's a nickname for it. It's called the Education IRA,
Huh.
and it's not
You know,
very
I've
popular.
yeah, I've heard the name. I'll be honest, I know nothing about that one. We
Yeah,
did
this
not
is a.
utilize that.
It's not very popular because uh, you can put very very little amount of money on this.
Oh,
And there's income limits,
ah,
for this, income restrictions.
sure.
If you make too much money, you can't even do it
Yeah.
for
Like
your kid.
most things that are advantageous or tax advantaged,
Yep.
there are gonna be income limits. So tell us a little bit more about
Yeah,
this.
and this one, your income I'm sorry, your limitations, uh, are you can only contribute up to $2,000 per year per beneficiary,
Oh, wow.
okay? And it's subject to income limits, which are very low. From last time I checked, I mean they change every year, but for a single filer, I think it was like 70 to 90,000, and then you just double that for a married joint.
Sure.
So not a lot of people do it for that reason. And that's that simple. It's really that simple. You contribute money, you don't get to deduct any of it, uh, and it grows tax deferred. And if you use it for education, it's tax free. Um, and so it's again with these two first options that I've talked about, there you have to commit to education. You have to commit. If there's nothing really out, I mean, if something doesn't happen that way, then you kind of are stuck with this.
Hmm.
And let's say you put a whole lot, even with the 529, even if you put a whole lot of money in there, you're limited to only 7 grand, pulling out 7 grand, or 75 grand, $7,500,
7,500, yeah.
yeah, a year. So now parents are looking to look at something different, something a little bit more unorthodox, and this is something that people, for example, Lindsay, who works here, which is Brad's niece.
Sure.
She's doing it with her daughter. I'm doing it for whenever I have kids. I'm going to do it for my kids, in my opinion, just because it fits what I would think.
Yeah.
Um, and that is using life insurance, an IUL, which is an indexed universal life insurance policy,
Really?
for education expenses.
Huh.
Now, so the trade off here is that there's no real deductions. You can't deduct any of the money in there. And I guess the con is that it's in a life insurance policy. But for my opinion, for why I would be doing this for my kids, is that gives me the most flexibility. Uh, I own it. I know exactly what I can do on this account. It's connected to an index that can grow, right?
Yeah.
And it's life insurance. So on a baby, life insurance on a baby is really not a whole lot of money. It's really not that
Right.
expensive.
Right.
Um,
So how does that work then? Because a lot of our listeners might be thinking, well, life insurance, do I have to die for my children to be able to access the money for college? That's
uh-huh.
not going to work because they're going to go to college at a certain time. And what if
Yep.
they're still, so I take out a life insurance policy on them,
Yeah.
and they're still alive to go to college. So how do they access the money? How does this work?
So the money that goes into this life insurance policy gets invested into an index that grows over time.
Okay. Yep.
Um, and since I'm the owner, I control the money that's invested inside of it.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
But so I would be the owner, and
Yep.
the beneficiary could really be, I can just be this beneficiary as well. And then the benefit, the kid, the children would be the insured. So
Yeah.
that would keep the cost of doing this very low.
Sure.
And it gives me the most amount of flexibility as far as what do I use this money for. Let's say if they don't go to college, I would
Yep.
just, not take it out for not, or maybe they want to buy a house, their
So it's
first
like
house.
a cash value life insurance policy where there's a
Yes.
cash value in there that you can
Yes.
access for college to pay for
Yes.
college.
And you can access it via loans. uh, tax free. And if it's made properly, obviously, when you're doing something like this, it has to be made properly. So it does have all those tax benefits of tax for growth and tax
Yeah.
free access via loans.
Yeah, that's the
Uh,
beauty of a cash value life insurance policy is the
yep.
tax-free aspect of
Yes,
life insurance,
exactly.
yeah.
And another really, really good thing that, and when we're talking about FAFSA, money inside of a cash value life insurance does not count as an asset
Ah,
owned by parents.
sure, sure.
So technically you own it, but on paper on FAFSA, you don't have to report it.
Ah, so that's how you get around that. That's really good. I never thought of that, but that's true. That's a good point.
Yeah.
So this particular type of life insurance policy that you take out on your child, you can put money in there and let it grow to
Hmm.
help cover their college costs. It's not
Hmm.
going to affect the amount you get from FAFSA,
Yep.
the FAFSA amount of coverage. So that's really good. That's a great option. I have heard of people utilizing. I have heard mention of this. We did not do either of those last two options. We did the 529.
Hmm.
I had briefly heard, hey, you could use life insurance, but I didn't look into it far enough. We were already so far down the road at that point, but it sounds like it would have been a really smart option.
Yeah. It depends on, again, everybody is a little bit different, but with parents now in this in this nowadays, it's people are more concerned about flexibility.
Yes.
And there's no restrictions and contributions uh, into something like a cash value life insurance, and there's no restrictions on the distributions either.
Wow.
As far as
So
when it
you
comes
could
to
use it
education,
for anything.
yeah,
If they don't end up going to college, you could use it for whatever
yeah,
it is they're doing, and or that you wanted to use it for. So I think that's really good.
hmm,
That's a really good option for a lot of people. Again, there's no one size fits all. There's
yeah,
always gives and takes, as you've talked about. So, really, the answer is to sit down with someone
hmm,
like yourself, a trusted financial professional who understands this, to go over your options and look at your situation to say, hey, okay, how many kids do you have? When are they going? What's your timeline? How much do you have? How much do you want to contribute? And then you can
hmm,
figure out what's going to make the most sense,
yeah.
right?
And if somebody's really unsure, there's no, why not do both of them?
Yeah,
And the combination of two, just so you can kind of diversify inside
yeah,
of this bucket of money. No, so yeah, I mean, the best way to figure out which one's the best for me is to give us a call and have that discussion and see what that would look like for you and what's important to you. Um, and that's really the best way to figure that out.
yeah. That's fantastic. I've learned a lot that I didn't know before today, Jose. 529s and how they're, vary from state to state. I did not know that.
Hmm.
And I didn't know a lot about the second two options, but it sounds like
Hmm.
there are some possibilities there. I love that you have different strategies that you can utilize depending on each individual family
Hmm.
situation. So
Yep.
before we go, Jose, let our listeners out there know. I know you're offering a no charge, no obligation consultation, correct?
Yeah, and for you to schedule that, you can give us a call at 888-390-5277 or going to our the show's website, financialarmorshow.com.
All right. Yep, that website's great too, financialarmorshow.com, and it's a great website, a lot of resources, and the number one more time is 888-390-5277. Jose, I know you love hearing from our listeners and viewers out there, so pick up the phone, give Jose and the team at Cooper Financial Group a call, and thanks for tuning in. That does it for today's episode of the Financial Armor Show with our host, Jose Rodriguez.